Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video, and it is on Ark Survival Ascended, which just released. It came out a few days ago, and I want to mention that I love this game. I've played pretty much nonstop since it got released, and it's fantastic. However, that's not why I'm making this video. Why I'm making this video is I think that it's already failed miserably. And I think there's a great opportunity for it not to fail, but I don't think anything is going to get done. And I think because of that, Ark Survival Ascended on day 2 is literally already done. Now, some of you said, I made a video about this recently, and yes, I did, but some people asked for some actual evidence and showing what I was talking about, and I was like, okay, I can't tell you some of it because some people asked me to not speak about it, but I can tell you a lot of the things and show you a lot of the things that I was talking about. So let's go ahead and get into it. Why Ark Survival Ascended is already failing, and it's already going downhill. Now, before we start that, I want to mention I love this game. I think that the UI changes they have made with the mods list and all kinds of stuff with crossplay is fantastic. The island itself is beautiful. Solo player mode functions in a crazy awesome way for me. I've got a really beefy graphics card, so you have to keep that in mind, but I just want to mention that it runs flawlessly for me, and I love it. The water changes, the light changes, some of the UI changes that you have, like look at this, like where else, like I didn't ever think that that would be possible in Ark, and it's just so cool that they added that. It's a 9-year-old game almost at this point, and people forget that sometimes. The servers, yeah, when servers get launched, there are going to be problems. People aren't going to be able to log in. That's growing pains. That's what to be expected. And the UI changes, though, I love it. Like waypoints, you've got access to completely redesigned stuff. You have I'm not going to bring this up. I'll bring this up in a second. Cosmetics, and they're creating a shop for that, but that's going to be besides the point. But you've got all kinds of UI changes and upgrades to the game that make this game truly playable and enjoyable, and it feels like a different Ark. It really does. For those people that are like, no, it doesn't, I don't like it, that's fine. You just didn't know what you were getting into when you bought it, because if you thought that this was going to be anything than a reskin, you're wrong. It is a different Ark, but reskin kind of concepts, but with like a lot of generic changes. So I've said all of those things. You would imagine that the game would be successful, right? And I would be like, yo, this game is fantastic. You should buy it. You should do all these things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I love this game, and I will play it for a lot of hours on solo player mode. I want the key word there to be solo player mode. So why do I think that Ark is going to fail, right? And the answer is pretty simple. It has nothing to do with the fan base. It has nothing to do with wildcard. I mean, maybe a little bit with that, but it has to do with company decisions that were made without the fans in mind, right? I'm a fan. I love Ark. I love making videos on Ark. I love playing Ark. However, the biggest problem has nothing to do with that. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So, people asked me for some news yesterday, right? I am currently tracking, and this is something anyone can use. This is just like a Steam database. It shows you how big Steam servers are at this moment in time, right? So you can see that this is right now at this moment in time, Ark Survival Evolved has 46,900 players. Ark Survival Ascended has 61,577 players. Now that's great and all, right? This is updated information. I'll just refresh this page so you can see my point. Now it's up to 63,000, right? It peaked already for the day. This has maintained this constant, and then you've got 248,000 at a popular time. So you would imagine that when you release a new game, you want the game to be more popular than the old game. That is not what's happening. These are about the same and have stayed pretty similar since the release of a brand new game, and no one is switching over. And the people that are quickly going right on back. That's what I'm seeing. This number is getting bigger and bigger from Ark Survival Evolved. So again, people are going back, but why? The answer is very simple. You cannot play Ark Survival Evolved. Survival Ascended, my bad. Survival Ascended on servers unless it's official or solo. Now, people are like, yes, you can pay Nitrado. Yeah, you can pay Nitrado, but that shouldn't be the case. I have nothing wrong with the companies to make their decisions, right? The companies have to do what's best for them, and Nitrado got a deal with Snail Games where they had exclusive rights to all servers, which basically means that anyone that runs a server has to go through them. That's a monopoly. And that's not great. So what is the problem with that? Well, right off the bat, right? Here's Nitrado's website. Here's what you can do right now. Ark Survival Evolved. You can buy an Ark Survival Evolved server for $4.09 for 3 days. Or you can pay double that for Ark Survival Ascended. And by the way, they're the only person you can go through to get these servers. If you want to run your own private server using your own private computer that you've set up or your own private server that you've set up, you can't even do that because you have to request permission from Nitrado. Now, again, right, let's say that you want to go through Nitrado, and that's fine. I think that that's great. Good for you. I'm not going to, but this is your cost right now. So you can't have anything less than 26 slots because they claim that it costs too much RAM. You can see that right there. It costs more RAM, so they need you to have more slots. So that means that even if you want to play with one other friend and there's 2 of you total, you need a minimum of 26 slots. Great, right? Let's say you're someone like me. My server cluster that I like to run and play on has around 200 to 300 players. I like to keep slots available right around 70 to 80 slots available. Assuming I want to buy the yearly package, that is $837.59 a year for a game that costs $40. That's for one server. One server. Now let's go ahead and talk about the next thing, right? This is where it gets even worse. So if you want to do this, right, currently you can't play mods. So you can't do anything about it, right? You literally can't play mods. Now, so what's the point of playing a modded server, an unofficial server, if you can't play mods or control it? Now, okay, that's step one. Not a problem, right? Okay, some people don't like mods, and I get that. However, right now, until, from what I understand, Ark Survival of Ascended, until Scorched Earth gets released, whenever it does get released, that is the first time you can actually cluster servers. So you can't even make a server cluster. You can only play on one individual map. Now, let's say you're okay with that as well, right? Now, that's fine and dandy. So you can't play mods, you can't cluster, you can't do any of that stuff. Great, right? There is nothing to prevent Nitrado from saying, hey, we're going to raise or lower our prices, because they're the only ones that can do that, right? They're the only people that have an exclusive deal with Snail Games in order to sell this game. Now, in order to sell servers for this game, which is great now. So they can charge you at one point whatever they feel like, and then they can charge you whatever they want at the next point. Now, Nitrado has claimed that they are being fair to everybody, so on and so forth, right? The reason they're claiming that is because if you are a server provider with over 10,000 community members, you can reach out to them and make a deal with them, and they'll sell you a license for the game in order to have your own servers. That's insane. That's a third-party company being authorized to sell for whatever price they see fit, by the way, a server provider who make their living off of this game, some people do, in order to sell them whatever they feel like or whatever they want at any cost they feel necessary. Okay, so let's say you're okay with that. Now, they also say it's okay if you're a YouTuber, have more than 10,000 followers and 5,000 impressions per video, that it's also okay for you to apply to purchase a server request or a server license from them. So basically what they've said in that statement to me is that if you are famous enough, you can purchase things from us. That's wild. I don't stand for that. I'm sorry. I've always stood for the little guy. That's my problem, right? And that's part of the problem with who I am. I don't accept that as an offer. I absolutely refuse to accept that as an offer, because you're telling me now that in order to have your own server cluster, you've got to have 10,000 minimum subscribers with 5,000 impressions per video. That's wild, man. That is literally preventing anyone that doesn't, like, is starting out from creating their own server, and maybe even hindering their process. And this isn't being done by Snail or Wildcard. This is like what Nitrado have decided that they're going to do. Now, again, I go back to this because, very simply, I love this game. It's running smoothly for me. It's running fantastic. I can see things that I want to play. I can do all the kinds of things that I want to do. However, I'm not sure I can support this, because I'm going to play solo player, but I'm never going to play on an official, on our unofficial network, because of how toxic things get. And I'm never going to be able to really want to play unofficial, because I'll be honest with you, I used to have Nitrado. I've even talked with Nitrado about possible deals in the past. The reason I went away with them is because it's very simple. When I did have Nitrado, I asked for help, and I got a message 2.5 weeks later saying they didn't know how to help me. So That was just one experience. There's a lot of experiences out there that say the similar things, where if you do have their servers and you are a server provider with them, they care more about their individual company rights and the actual fans and everything like that. And again, that's personal choice. That's personal opinion. I'm sure people have great stories about working with Nitrado. I don't. So all in all, the reason that Arc is going to fail has nothing to do with the game, because the game is fantastic. Look at this. Like, I think it's lovely. Look at how well it's running for me right now. And I've got, and you guys, people are like, you've got a nice graphics card. That is true. That's not wrong. But moral of the story, very simple. When they released this game, they didn't do it with the fans in mind. The people that play this game on unofficial networks, I would say it's at least 90% of the fan base. At least, minimum. 90% of the fan base want to play on unofficial servers. So they released this game without the fans in mind. They released it with the intent to make money. And both companies that decided to do that, both Nitrado and Snail Games, didn't care about what the fans wanted. They cared about their own pocketbooks and making them bigger. So that is why I think that even though it's only day 2, we're seeing this game flop incredibly hard. A game that we all love, right? Like, I love this game. I love Ark Survival Evolved, but I'm probably going to go back to playing Ark Survival Evolved. Again, these are all my personal opinions. These have nothing to do with what anyone else is thinking. You can think whatever you want, and I encourage you to do that. I really do. So, moral of the story, right? Make decisions for yourself. Take the advice from people that you want to listen to, and go from there. Make sure you leave some comments below. Let me know how you really feel, what you're thinking. Let me know all of those things. I don't know. If you want, leave a like for the video. Let me know what you think, and I'll try and answer to the best of my ability. And if you want to consider subbing to the channel, that would be awesome. I'm getting really close to 100K, and that's been my goal all along. I hate posting videos like this because I don't really like the drama. I don't like to be dragged into it. But like when it's affecting so many people, not only people, but people's livelihoods, and things just aren't being done or thought about or stated, that's crazy to me. Crazy. So anyways, hopefully you guys can, I don't know, make something work for yourselves. That's my hope. And hopefully everyone has a great day. That's all I can ask for. All right, Teach out.